So I want to introduce Trevor York. I'm super excited that he is taking the time out of his day to help us out. Trevor is a loan officer like the rest of us, but he is special because he also is a videographer and does a great job with his social media marketing and is basically supporting Neil Dring with his video marketing and help run the Forward Academy, which is where I learned kind of all my secret sauce. But Trevor is going to share a little bit with us today. And like we're saying, most of the people on the call are new to video. So, well, first of all, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
All
How's it
right.
going? Thank you for the intro, Steven. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Trevor, yeah, you're absolutely killing it on Instagram. Um, we have a lot of new loan officers. So, can you give us like some basic helpful tips for the LOs that are just starting to market with video?
Yeah. So for a little bit of context to my background before I got into mortgages was in video. Got into mortgages, gosh, I think 7 years ago now. And when I started, as I'm sure you guys know, when you start as a loan officer, building relationships is really hard, right? You go one at a time. And I was doing it the old school way. The manager I had in my last company was in his mid 50s. He'd had an extremely successful career, so he's kind of stuck in his ways because what he was doing worked. But what he was doing was really hard for me to implement because I was brand new to the business. So it was a lot of like asking realtors to coffees, having a lot of realtors say no or just ghost you completely and not respond to your messages. So it's kind of this like the process that again we're all really used to. And me being in video, I'm like, man, this is something that no one in my market is doing. So I'm gonna start making videos. So I put all this pressure on it. I wrote the thing like 5 times, set up the stuff in my office, got it all dialed, shot one video, and it did really well. It got a lot of conversations going, and then I stopped. And it's crazy because you make a video and I'm thinking this thing's going to ride for a long time. It's going to keep feeding me business, but content is disposable. Like in this day and age, people consume it and they move on very, very quickly and they forget.
Right.
So it's a numbers game. It's about keeping like consistency with doing this and making more and more videos. And I learned that because I did one and then that was it. And I saw a little bit of like glimmer of the potential though, because when I saw people that knew me, they'd come up and be like, "Oh man, yeah, you're doing like insurance or something now, right?" And I'm like, all right, that's a start. At least they know I'm like boring and finance related. We're getting there. So they thought like insurance, CPA. I'm like the other like the third most boring financially related one. I do mortgages. So I'm like, okay, at least like this is getting me a little bit top of mind. And then Neil, who Stephen was just talking about, me and him actually work together now. He's the branch manager at the company I work for, but he's also in my market. And when I say no one was doing this, like nobody was doing this in my market. And then I see Neil doing it. And to be completely honest, he was doing it very poorly. We all were, right? This was like 3, 4 years ago. And I'm like, man, I'm
And
way
by the
better.
way, just for context, so Neil has 160,000 followers on Instagram.
And Neil's one too, that he was very good about leveraging this in business. And that was what made us connect. Was I was sitting there like kind of cynical about the guy, right? He's in my market and now he's the only other person doing video. And I'm like, dude, I'm a lot better at video than this guy. Like he has no idea what he's doing. Yet I'd posted like 2 videos and this dude was posting 3, 4, 5 a week. And so he was like really hammering this stuff out. And I'm like, I'm better than him, but he's doing it so much more and he's getting way more of a result. And so finally met the guy and I was talking to him. And at the time he was talking about we're in the month of June and we're actually at a core event, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know the core. And Rick Ruby's talking about like delete everything off your phone. Don't even own a smartphone. Yeah, I got a flip phone. If you have that, you'll never make $1 million. And Neil pulls his phone out. Me and him aren't working together at the time. Pulls his phone out and he pulls up his like ADP payroll app and it shows like year to date $650,000 and we're in June. So you're doing the math, you're like, all right, he'll make $1 million this year. And so we're kind of laughing because this guy's saying like Instagram, Facebook, all these things are distractions. You can't make money off it. And yet that's the sole reason he went from making like 300 to a million. And then he went, I think 2.2 million the year after that. And then just south of 5 million in year 3. in gross W-2 to income. So Neil's one that, I mean, the guy's an executor and he does this very, very well. But it was cool
What
because then,
what
you know,
what
go ahead,
portion
Steve.
of that success do you think is due to his video marketing?
He'll attribute all of it to it. And it's interesting because the impact that video will have on your business is hard to quantify because you won't be able to see like video out, lead come in. It's lots of videos out, opportunities come in, and you don't know how, but like now, and this isn't in an arrogant way, there's not a realtor in my city that I can't get to come sit in my office with me by the end of this week. Like the top dogs in the entire city I could have in here. And so did they come from video? Hard to say, but they're coming in here because of the presence that I've created by creating videos.
Okay.
So
Okay.
technically every deal that comes from those realtors all comes from creating videos, right?
Okay. So we're totally sold 100%. Now, how do I get going with this? What kind of equipment do I need? Do I need to go to like a professional studio, or do I need to get a fancy movie camera?
No. So you could create all this on your phone. I had some video demonstrations. I could actually try and find that real quick. But the impact on your quality comes from, there's three components to it. You have your camera, you have your light, and you have your mic or your audio. And far and away, the question people ask the most is like, what camera do you shoot on? Because I think the quality comes from that. That is the least important piece of that entire triangle is your camera. The things that you want to have is a good light and a good mic. If you have that, you could shoot on your iPhone and your videos are going to look better than 95% of the people on the internet.
And what are those? About $1,000?
No, it's about 250 you get set up
Okay.
with like a good light and mic.
Awesome. And the
And I
camera,
think Steven, you have some links to that you can share with them on the ones we recommend.
yeah, I do, and I'm prodding you along. So
Yeah, perfect.
so on the phone, what do? I just do a selfie?
No, so we're gonna use the back camera any chance you get. The back camera on your phone is a lot higher quality. The number one upgrade you can make to your phone, more than even buying the new one versus the old one, is every time you shoot, make sure you wipe your lens.
Oh,
This thing gets incredibly dirty. I'm telling you, this is like takes you from an iPhone 5 to the iPhone 13 in like 5 seconds to just wipe your lens. It's insane how dirty these get, oils, smudges, and it just makes the whole thing real hazy and foggy looking.
awesome. Great advice. And for the mic, you can get one of those. I think I got one of those Shure mics for $150 or something like that.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So now here's the thing. You've got, last I checked, was about 107,000 followers, and you only posted 130 videos. You're getting 800 additional followers per video, and I'm getting like 30. So how do you, there's some kind of magic to get that jump where you're doing a video and not only do you get the views, but you get so many followers.
Yeah. So there's two components to that. One is the trying to correlate like followers per video out. It doesn't really work that way because it's super inconsistent. So sometimes you post a video, you get 2. Sometimes you post a video and you get 10,000, right? Like you, Steven's had the experience. You had one get millions of views, correct?
Right. I had one that got 2.6 million.
2.6 million people watched you talk about mortgages. That's amazing, right? And so when you have something like that, you'll see this flood and you'll see a bigger growth. And then you'll have some that are a lot more average and you'll get 1 or 2 follows per video. So a lot of this is just at bats. The more you swing the bat, the more opportunities you have to hit that really high reach video. It's uncommon, right? And when you're going into it, kind of understand that probably isn't going to happen. And if it does, it has to take repetition. So we see a lot of people quit really early because they're like, this isn't working. I'm getting 300 views, 400 views a video. This isn't working. Like you had 300 people watch you talk about mortgages. You know how freaking hard that is? I don't know how long you've been doing this. How long have you been in the business, Steven?
30 years.
Have you ever had the opportunity to talk to 400, 500 people about mortgages?
What's amazing is, I've spoken in front of groups. Probably the biggest group I've ever spoken in front of is maybe 200, 250 people. But then I put a video out and it gets 13,000 views, right? Like, it would fill up a basketball arena if you had all those people. But so, all right. So now as far as making videos, so we got the equipment and all that. So here's what I'm thinking. So my company has all kind of programs. We do all different kind of loans. I figured I'd just go through the list and tell people about each type of loan. What do you think about that?
What do you think about that, Steven?
Well, I think that there would be 9 people on the planet Earth that would be interested in that video.
You're
So give us some
100% right.
suggestions, just in a general sense. How do I get, how do I get 10,000 people to watch a video about mortgage information?
So what's one of the programs you want to talk about?
Okay, so we've got DSCR loans.
Okay, so DSCR loans happens to be the one that you went viral with, right?
Yeah, it did really well.
So did you start this video by saying like, hey guys, Steven here with Van Dyke Mortgage, and I want to talk about the different programs and mortgages because a lot of people just think there's a 30-year mortgage, but there's a lot of different options actually. My company personally, we offer about 25 different products, and the one I want to talk to you about today is the DSCR loan. Is that how you started it?
No.
So that's how 99% of the people in our industry who are trying to do video marketing will start that video, right?
So
Does that sound
explain the
familiar to you
concept
guys?
of the hook.
So concept of the hook is what's the benefit of a DSCR loan? If you guys could just list a
No
couple of
income
those.
verification.
Okay. No income. So what's a really sexy way of getting someone to listen about a DSCR loan? There's a loan product that allows you to buy a home with no income.
Wow.
So we come out of the gate with that, someone's going to be like, what are you talking about? I need to keep listening. And then you sauce it up a little with Steven's version of like, and smart investors use this product all the time. And we're like, ooh, what are you talking about? Right. So instead of like, here's one of the 78 loan products that my company offers, I'm going to give you information. It's here's something that lets you buy a house with no income, and smart investors use this all the time. Do you guys see the difference of like, which one are you going to watch? And so you can reverse engineer this in any product. You want to talk about FHA loans? No, you're talking about a government sponsored program that lets you buy a $400,000 house with $12,000. Now all of a sudden I'm interested. And so this process of like an easy way to figure this out is what is the benefit of the thing that you're talking about? And a really good parallel is we talk about selling the destination. And this is a marketing thing that has been done for a very, very long time is you sell the destination, not the process. And there's no better example of this than airlines. So Southwest Airline is not going to show the inside of their plane on one of their ads, right? They're showing Fiji. They're showing like Cabo. They're selling you on sitting on a beach in Hawaii. They quite literally sell the destination. If they marketed about their 747s having industry average legroom, like we're not sold. We're not being sold the process of getting to Hawaii. We're being sold Hawaii. So we don't want to be sold the process of getting an FHA loan. We want the destination, which is you own a $400,000 house for 12 grand. That's the destination. That's the benefit to the person. You put that at the front of the video, and then you give them why it matters to them, right?
But Trevor, a lot of these videos, I mean, to be honest, they're only going to appeal to such a small group. Is it worth it to do a loan about a fixed rate HELOC if there's only 1/10 of 1% of the population that's even interested? What's the value in that?
That is a great question. The value in it is we're trying to establish authority. And I use this like saying it to who's heard that like you want to be top of mind, right? So top of mind, that doesn't exist anymore because we're so inundated with content nonstop. You don't want to be top of mind, you want to be top of the list. Because when we think mortgages, there's probably now 10, 15, whatever it is, people that you think of. How do we get to the top of that list? We get there by establishing authority that we know what we're talking about. So when I talk about HELOCs that might not like add value to people that don't own homes yet, they're still like, man, this guy knows a lot, right? So a good example of this is I made a video about how to buy the 3% down conventional program, and I got a 20% down jumbo buyer from that video. So was that like the direct thing that they needed? So what you talk about, again, it's not a direct in to direct out. It's someone watching this video like, man, if he could help people with 12 grand get into a house, what could he do for me? Because I got like 400 grand in the bank. So can you help me, Trev? And I'm like, yes, I can.
Right. So you build this community of people that think Trevor is smart, kind, helpful.
Yep.
And yeah, the more people in that community, the better you are. So
And
yeah, I mean, and you're really doing an incredible job. Um, so besides being more handsome than me, how do you are you able to get business from, how does it go from video watcher, follower to business?
yeah. So there's, and this kind of goes back to how much of Neil's success does he attribute to content and it being all of it. There's 1,000 ways to win. You kind of pick which one is going to be yours. So, for example, Steven now has done repetition. He has a portfolio of videos to show. So now when you reach out to a new realtor partner that you want to get business from, you can lead with the same script you've been using for 30 years, or you can start to use this portfolio and the success that you've had to now frame the conversation and saying like, hey, Patty, I've been doing this video marketing stuff, had a lot of success with it. Would love to link up sometime if you had any questions, right? And then start going outbound. And now when you're going outbound with this portfolio and resume behind you, you'll see this success rate go up. And realtors, then they know when we ask them to coffee, like they know what we want, right? Like
Right.
we're not, that's not sly of like, oh man, I just want to get to know you, Kyle. They know what you're there for. So being like, I have something to offer in this. Here's my resume, and here's the example of it. Now all of a sudden you're seeing your capture rate of the realtors that actually meet up with you and give you the time of day go up substantially. And then every deal that comes from that realtor is tied back to the videos that you were making. So making sure that once you do these, you don't just sit back and like, all right, deals roll in now. I
So
hit publish on the video.
so what you're saying is that you're not going to have a situation where you do a video about FHA loans and then pick up 5 FHA loans. You're
It'll
gonna
have
have,
there.
you're gonna have more of a situation where you do videos about loans. Agents see that, you build credibility, you establish yourself as an expert, and then you draw business because of your newfound reputation of being an expert in the industry.
Yeah, so and it is both, right? I think the thing that people miss is the second part, which is why I lean into that so much of like you now have something to go outbound with. The inbound definitely happens. Your personal sphere, you'll see it start to generate a lot more business than it has in the past because your sphere are typically the ones watching these videos. The unfortunate thing is our service is not it's used every 7 years. So you're hoping that these people in your sphere are in that little window of wanting to buy. When you see a refi boom like we did the last couple of years, all of a sudden your sphere has a ton of business to squeeze and generate. So in different markets, you see different results. In this market, there's zero refi business. So everyone who owns a house in your audience, very low chance that they're purchasing right now. You'll see them refer because they watch your videos, and now all of a sudden their cousin's buying a house, and they'll be like, "Oh, you got to use Steven because they watch your videos all the time." So in different markets, you'll see it yield a different return. There's definitely like times where you get direct leads from a video that you make. There's also times where sometimes it takes a while. I had a girl that I went to high school with, and I closed her loan, and she's like, "Yeah, when you made the video about buying from your landlord, that's when I started this process." And I'm like, "That was a year ago." She didn't like it. She didn't comment on it. I had no idea she was even following me, but people are silently watching. So the video that you make today, it's not like make a video on FHA loans. Tomorrow that person is becoming a deal. It's I make the video. I made 10 more videos, but that was the one that caused them to transact with me in 8 months, 9 months.
Awesome. Awesome. Do we have time for a few questions?
Yeah, I've penciled out I've got a pretty good block, so we can go as long as you need.
Okay, so everybody raise your little hand raise. Oh, there's Dan. How do I do this? Okay. How do I do it? So Dan, speak up.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there you are.
Gotcha.
Perfect. Hey, Trevor, correct me if I'm wrong. So, I mean, a lot of what you were just saying, as far as you're not going to get business directly from video, but it's more or less in this modern day age of advertising, it's the same thing as going to a print store, creating 1,000 print pieces, mailing them out to a specific neighborhood, and you know, hoping more or less, that someone's going to call off of that. So it's more or less it's the indirect approach of how you're going to get business, right?
Correct. Yeah. And it's building a brand at the end of the day. So when you see all these companies pouring billions of dollars into ads, it's not like that specific ad is going to make you transact. It's all of them combined is going to create a brand that then when you're in a position to do it, you're choosing their brand over everybody else's.
Yeah.
So that's why there's the long game. And that's not to say, again, I don't want to discredit the fact like you'll see yourself get direct leads from posting videos.
Sure.
I like to set the expectation of like, it's more of how you leverage this is where like the huge gains are going to come from. So if you want to like 2x, 3x the volume of business coming in, that comes from like a more holistic and leveraged approach of social rather than just like I now have this lead generating machine that just pumps but again, if you're doing this stuff now, if you're putting this in place now, when the market shifts and we see rates come down and there's refi opportunities, that's where you get to hit the like print money button. And now all of a sudden, all these people in your sphere that you follow, you're making content about like how you can save money and pay off debt and how you can lower your payment, $400, which is the payment on a car. So basically you get a free car if you give me a call tomorrow. Like you frame it in all these cool ways. And now all of a sudden you see it like yielding very immediate returns.
FYI, I got 18 leads off that DSCR. I asked people to DM me for more information. I had 18 people DM me.
That's
okay.
Insane.
Kyle Farrell, go ahead.
Appreciate you guys having me. My question is, do you have a preference regarding platform or, I mean, indiscriminate, blast it everywhere, send it everywhere? So
I think that, I mean, Instagram is definitely the one that we recommend the most. And reason being is the feature of the DMs and stories. So with Instagram, you get to create real relationships with people. When you look at something like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or any of the other short form platforms, it's really hard to create like conversations and rapport with the people that are following you. And this kind of goes back to that same thing of like, you can interact with other agents, right? So go follow the agents that you want to see your videos in your market, and then they'll probably follow you back and they start seeing your videos. That doesn't really happen on the other platforms. So if you're looking to like strike gold and hit virality, it's worth posting your stuff across all of them, because you might as well, if you're doing the work of creating the videos, do the extra couple steps and post it on TikTok, post it on YouTube Shorts, post it on Facebook. Some people hit massive on Facebook, but the one that I think is the most beneficial is definitely Instagram.
Can you tell us in a nutshell what the difference is between a story and a reel?
So a story and a reel, the reel is like the more polished version of what it is you're creating. So a reel, take the time to refine, take the time to get your lighting set up, make sure your audio is dialed. Stories is for the people to connect with you. So I want to know more about Steven. Like what's in stories is him playing with his dog or his going to his kids' games or whatever it is that makes you a human. Because just like sales, we know it's very similar to like if a borrower comes in, we need to put our best foot forward as far as like you don't try and dress sloppy, right? You try to be professional in the engagement, but you want pictures of your family in your office so they know you're a real human. And when they're in here, the things that connect is when you start talking to them and, oh, you guys are buying in that neighborhood. Oh, that's awesome. My kids play soccer on the field right down the street from where you're buying. And now it's like, cool, we're creating connection and we're building rapport. So that is what you use stories for.
Awesome. So Patty's got a question. Go ahead, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
Oops. Sorry, I was muted. Hey, Trevor, thanks for coming on today. So
Absolutely.
For someone like me that's just getting started, besides the words that I like to use is just do it, what is the single most best advice you can give for someone like me that's getting started? Is it getting over your mental part of it, coming up with content? Which program or platform should you go on, or what's your single most best advice you can give to someone like me that's just getting started?
I think it kind of changes depending on the person, but are you having trouble starting? Is that the process?
I have had trouble starting, but I think,
So
yeah, for me, it's just taken a little while because I'm not a speaker. I don't do very well talking in front of a bunch of people. Although I've been put in that position a few times and I'm starting to get used to it. I don't know why it's not kind of like my comfort zone. I'm trying to get over that. I'm more in my comfort zone if I'm in my shop doing woodworking. And I'll do a video on that. But And I'm very comfortable with mortgages. I've been doing it for 23 years, so I know what I'm doing. So it's just a matter of getting over the fact people looking at me or whatever, and just doing it, I guess, just getting over
Yeah.
it. I don't know what, it's hard to pinpoint it, but I'm starting to get over that little edge a little bit, and I've done a couple. So, and I
Well, and
good
a lot of
success.
that is like these mental blocks, and it's different for each person. But the one thing I'll say is like you're phenomenal on video. And the reason I know that is because you're on video right now, and the way you just talked was extremely natural, extremely engaging, and you seem very likable. And I feel like if I met you in person, I'd have a pretty clear idea of what you're like, just based on the 30-second interaction we just had.
Oh,
So it's not that you're not comfortable on video or that you care too much about what people think, because were you worried about what we were all thinking while you were talking just now?
no, I wasn't.
Like typically we go through our day and we're not constantly worried. You go through the grocery store and someone says hi, you talk back to them. You're not like looking in the mirror and critiquing yourself. And we do that when we shoot videos, but we don't do it in real life. And it's funny that we put this emphasis, and I think it's because it is unnatural. And the part that is unnatural is, depending on how you shoot your videos, whether you have someone there with you, if you're by yourself, talking to inanimate objects means you're a crazy person. If I were to sit and Patty's just talking to a lamp, I'm like, something's wrong, right? Like you can't talk, but that's what we're supposed to do, is like talk to a camera
Yeah.
with no personality, no response, no engagement, and somehow keep our tonality the same way me and you are talking right now.
Mhm.
So a lot of that like comfort level comes unfortunately from just repetition. So you could either just do it, and I think that's great advice. And for some people, they're able to literally just do it. They post the video, they don't care, and then you get better. For some people, it's easier to start it and don't put the pressure of posting it. If you feel like you need to get a little bit better before you feel comfortable posting the video, record yourself talking to your phone. And you could do this on a challenge. We say a 30-day, but it's funny because in less than 14, you'll see yourself from video 1 to video 14 and be like, holy cow, I sound like me in this one. But it
Yeah,
takes
that's more
repetition.
like it.
Yeah.
Repetition.
So if you
Practice
want to
makes
put
perfect.
yourself on a challenge, is just film yourself. And if you like it, post it. If you feel like I just need to keep working, set a bar of I'm going to shoot a video every day for 14 days. Doesn't even matter what it is that you're talking about. And then you'll start to get comfortable talking to a camera. And that's the biggest differentiator between what me and you are doing right now and you posting videos to the internet.
And you're absolutely right, because I think I can I'm really good one-on-one, but to sit and talk to a camera, it's like my personality just leaves me. But if
Gets
I'm talking
vacuumed
to
out.
somebody, then it's so different.
So this is a trick that I used to use, and eventually you'll get to the point where you just hit record and you can sound like you first try. The trick I used to use, because my energy was always off when I would film, was I used to call it kind of like priming your voice. So if you're shooting by yourself, especially without someone in the room, it's so hard to get those first words out and have your energy right. So
Mhm.
I would do stuff to set the tone. So I'd be sitting there, be like, all right, so I'm about to shoot. The mic is on, the camera's on. I sound like an idiot. This is crazy. Here's 3 things you need to know before you submit an offer on a house. And then I would cut out all the part of me talking to myself. But by the time I got to here's the 3 things you need to know about buying a house, my voice was primed. My energy was becoming more natural. So you can try different things. I've heard of people naming their camera. So they're like, all right, Larry, I'm going to start recording. And here's 3 things that you need to know before, and you're talking to your camera like it's a real person. And as crazy as it sounds, this stuff is helpful. And for me, talking before I shot was like the biggest key in helping me get to my to like a proper energy level.
I think that idea of doing the video challenge where you shoot a video every day for 14 days, I think by day 8, 9, 10, you're going to be much more comfortable than in day 1 and 2.
100%.
Frederick, what you got?
I wanted to know, how much do algorithms and hashtags play a role in your video getting out there? And I'm asking because you'll put a video out there and it might not do that well. And it's like, oh, it didn't get picked up by the algorithm. But on the flip side, it's like I can say the exact same thing as someone else, copy and paste their caption or description with all the hashtags they use, but one video is going to get a lot more exposure and reach a lot more people than another video. Does that come down to, oh, well, this person posts 3 times a week, or this, outside of just, oh, they've got 100,000 followers,
Yeah.
is it, what else plays into your
Any
video
hack?
getting out there?
Any hack, Trevor, to get the algorithm to see it? I mean, is there a certain time of day or certain length or what?
Yeah, so the hack is replace algorithm with audience. That's the biggest hack, is like you're not trying to trick a computer, it's the audience. That's what the algorithm listens to, the people. So it doesn't have an agenda, it doesn't have a bias. It's not like hunting, like, oh, this person uses this hashtag, like let's make them go viral. If the video isn't good, they don't want it to go. So their whole goal, when you think about like any of these platforms, their whole goal is to keep people on their platform. So with selfish intent, they only want you to watch the video that they know you're going to watch. So how do they do that? Is this algorithm of like, okay, let's show it to 10 people on this call. Okay, none of them finished the video in its entirety. We don't want to show that to anybody else. Like, okay, let's show it to 10 people on this call. 5 of them watched all the way through. That's pretty hot. Let's show it to 10 more. Oh, cool. Now 5 of those people, let's show it to 1,000 more. 10, and then that's when you start to see virality. It's dictated by the audience and the way they're engaging with your stuff. So it's not even the words that you're saying, it's how are you saying it? What's the music choice? What's the feeling when people are watching it? And there's a lot of these little nuances that when you're watching videos, you'll notice you'll sit and linger on one, and then go figure, that's the one that goes viral. So I always say this, like I built this whole audience and achieved virality 100% on accident. I wasn't trying to algorithm hack. I wasn't using hashtags or posting at certain times of the day. My entire goal was with the 400, 500 people that followed me, was like, I'm going to make a video that they actually watch. So that was my challenge, was like, how do I get the 400 people that I went to high school with to actually sit and listen to me talk about mortgages? Okay, I need to make it short. I need to grab them at the beginning. I need to make sure that the energy is conversational enough to where they don't want to scroll away. Cool. And then what happens is when you're creating videos that you want people to watch, more people watch them. And then it starts to compound and grow on itself. So there's no like shortcut of like throw this hashtag in there and watch yourself blow up. It's more of like continue to focus on making your videos as good as they can possibly be while adding value to the person watching it. And you're going to see it start to grow.
Who
So-
are the 10? Sorry, Steve. Like who are the 10 that they're essentially sending that video out to initially?
So it's at random, right? So it's your
at
audience
random.
is the first at bat you're going to get is with the people that follow you. So if you
Oh,
got 400
okay.
followers, it's going to show it to
Okay.
those people. And if the people who follow you don't even like it, then it doesn't have a chance. So that's
Got
where
it.
you
It's
focus
not
on.
like, it's not 10 people sitting in a boardroom
No.
for Facebook. I see. Okay. So they're
Yeah.
going to send it to your first 10 top followers based
Yep.
on what they think of it. It's going to expand from there. Or
Yep.
So
Yeah,
Trevor,
and that's why I'm saying there's no bias here. Like are your people watching your videos or no? Is it a good video? Not on your understanding, but on the people watching it. And they have data to determine that. Was it liked? Was it shared? There were people commenting on it? Did they watch it all the way through? Like there's a lot of things that make this algorithm extremely complex. But at the end of it is like, is this a video people want to watch?
yeah,
So-
that's so true. I mean, it's like a sitcom more or less. Why was Seinfeld successful for 9 years, right? I mean,
Yep.
people look forward to engaging with that show each and every week. Got it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that you can't explain the why, right? It was like it was a good cast, it was good writing, it was the proper sets, it was in the right era of time where like that type of comedy was hitting really well. It was the situations that these characters are put into. So it's hard to just be like Seinfeld was successful because of blank. It was Seinfeld was successful because of all of it. And so many people try to recreate Seinfeld and it doesn't work. But then you create Friends, which is different. Maybe there's some like similarities where like, oh, the cast, the chemistry, like there's certain things that we know create something successful, but then there's a lot of immeasurables of like what made that one so much better than every other thing that had a similar feel and vibe.
so
That's a really
Trevor,
good parallel, Dan.
you
Yeah.
talked about making videos for your community. So I'm assuming that's why on none of your videos do you say, "Hi, I'm Trevor." You don't introduce yourself. And at the end, you don't do any kind of wrap up. And if you want more information, call. In fact, I didn't even know what mortgage company you worked for until before this interview, and I Googled you, and it's All West Mortgage, right?
All
So-
Western. Yep.
Yeah, All Western. Okay. So yeah. So what is that purposefully done, or you just feel like you just don't need to do it?
So yeah, it's definitely on purpose. So every video you post has your photo and your name right at the bottom of it. So we don't need to introduce ourselves. If people care enough to know who's Steven that made this video about DSCR, they click on your profile. So people will do the due diligence themselves to find what it is. But the strategy in not buttoning up every video is also because one of the things that says whether a video is doing good or not is, was it completed? And what happens is when we start to button it up, so you give all the benefits of DSR. So that's what, guys, why you should go talk to a loan officer, because DSCRs are amazing. Make sure you call me if you have any people are scrolling and they're leaving because they know the video is over. But now it's showing that people didn't complete your video in its entirety. They left before it was done. So if you just cut off at the end, your video got a full completion because they came, they watched it, you finished your value, you end it. So it's like that was a full watch for every person that came there.
Hal, did you have something else you wanted to add?
I
Kyle?
did. I appreciate you. Two-part question. First part, ads. Is there any value to ads? Do you make these videos and then promote them, like Facebook ads or Instagram promotions or anything like that? And then second part, you said you use the back of your iPhone. So you're putting it on a tripod or some sort of stand and you're having it face you.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? I don't know if you can relate to this, but do you want to see that you're square? Do you want to see your posture? Like, how do you see yourself if you're using the back of your iPhone?
Yeah. So first one about ads would be a whole different kind of animal to tackle. In short, I don't run them to boost the posts that I'm doing.
Okay.
When you're running for financial services, ads kind of limit you very heavily in who you can target for different legalities. You can't discriminate against who it's going to for financial services. So a lot of like the beauty of ads on being able to target specific niches, it takes a lot of like roundabout ways of trying to set demographics. And then from what we've seen, there's no like benefit in running ads unless you have a very specific CTA and then funnel built on the back end. So that's like a whole nother call that we'd go into. But in short, focus on organic for sure.
Okay.
We've ran ads for different products that we have and those work, but that's a whole different strategy and approach. The second question, like ideally you have someone, if you're at work, have a coworker, assistant, someone help you get set up and they'll look at the camera for you and hit record. If you don't have anyone with you, like I've used, cause I'm on Macs or all my computers and you can screen share from your phone. So then I could set the phone and then I'm looking at my computer and I could do it. People use their Apple watches and you could like view your screen from your Apple watch. So then you could frame up. But if it's becoming to where it's like you're shooting the video and your head is, at the bottom of the screen and then it's all, just use the front camera if you're struggling with that. But I would recommend having someone set it up.
You shoot 2 or 3 seconds and then you go look and you say, okay, I got to scoot a little bit to the right. And that's it. I mean, it's pretty easy. You can get a good tripod for literally $35.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay. Well, listen, I want to,
Hey, before you close, I got a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
who is this?
Jeff Starnes.
Okay. Shoot, Jeff.
Hey, Trevor, thanks for the information. Took some good copious notes here. My question to you is that one, you mentioned out of the top 3, you mentioned Instagram was your number 1 platform. What would be the next 2 that you would choose?
So that's a really good question. After Instagram, I think again, repurpose the stuff on all the different platforms. YouTube's a great one because if you're putting YouTube shorts up, that's helping build this audience. YouTube has a ton of potential and upside. It's just a beast to try and tackle. So the second one that I think would be the most valuable is if you're able to build a presence on YouTube, that is of massive value. It's just the hardest of all platforms to gain an audience with. But with YouTube Shorts now, you have that same kind of ability to hit virality and you're making short consumable stuff and you'll start to see subscribers come in. But then you have to take another approach of like shooting YouTube videos, which are longer form, 3, 8, 12-minute videos that you're posting. So it's just a beast to tackle, but that would be, once you master one, YouTube, I think is another one. And then Facebook, like if you have Facebook with your audience, with your people connected, because that's where a lot of us have built like our personal relationships. throw the stuff on Facebook. A lot of conversations happen because you already have a bunch of friends on Facebook.
There's
So
still
take the
more
stuff we're
agents
doing.
on Facebook than any other platform.
100%. Yeah. So Facebook's the other one that, like, make sure you're repurposing this stuff and throwing it on Facebook. And some of our students in our accelerator, they'll take the scripts that we give and they'll just do those as written posts on Facebook. And you're still getting like engagement, you're getting comments, you're getting people talking to you and reaching out to you. So do not neglect Facebook as well.
Great tips. Also, second part is that what do you recommend for us if we're shooting videos? Is there a specific or certain days of the week would be the best to send the videos, and what times, AM, PM, and then how many a week is maybe too much or
It's a
too
really
less?
good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So when someone's awake is the ideal time to post. So the algorithm itself is going to judge and push it to where it goes. I recommend doing it in the morning because of this type of content that we create. Like, you kind of just think of the mindset you're in. By the end of the day, you want to watch funny videos and just scroll mindlessly. Start of the day, you're a little bit more like, I hate my job, I want to find a way out. This guy's talking about real estate investing. Like, cool, I'm gonna jive with this. So I would definitely be posting in the mornings. As far as cadence, frequency is earned. So there's a lot of people that come out the gate because you'll see these massive creators like Alex Hormozy, right? 1 million followers. The dude's posting twice a day, 5 days a week. He's earned the ability to do that because his audience wants him to make 2 videos a day, 5 days a week. If you haven't, we've seen people in our audience do that. They'll blast videos out and you'll actually have an adverse effect because it's your friends and family that are following you and they're like, bro, we get it. Like, chill, stop posting 2 times a day. So I think the sweet spot is 2 times a week. And then the other part is like, what can you sustain? What is sustainable for you to do? So if you set a goal of like, I want to do this 3 times a week, you burn out in 3 weeks, then this served no purpose. So if once a week is something that you're like, I could commit to this and 100% I'm going to do 1 a week, do 1 a week, work yourself up to 2. And then from that, listen to your audience, like, see what it is they like, see what they don't like, see what they want more of. And then you cater to them and then you'll start to see it grow.
Awesome
Appreciate it.
advice.
Yes,
Good job.
sir.
I try and record 3 or 4 every Sunday night, and then I send them off to a video editor, and then I have a queue so that I always have one ready to go. I'm trying to do 3 a week, but definitely 2 a week.
That's good. Yeah, and you could play around with it too, Stephen. Once you get to your level, once you've done enough and you kind of have a larger sample size, if you pick it up and you notice a fall off, then maybe wind it back a few. So I think Jeff Sable, who's in our group.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So Jeff was getting to a point where he's trying to do 2 a day. And I'm like, dude, this is every time I open my phone, it's you, and it's feeling redundant and like it's burning me out. So I'm sure people are feeling the same way. And he was seeing a decline. So we're like, dude, dial it back and go from twice a day to like 3 times a week. And then he saw his stuff picking back up. So you can try and you'll see, like, dude, I'm posting twice a day and I'm freaking hitting. Like, then keep feeding the beast, man. But if you're seeing like, you got to listen and feel what your audience is like demanding, right?
Are you using Chat GPT to write your descriptions?
No, I'm not. So I don't. As far as like script writing, descriptions would be the best use case for Chat GPT. But I use Chat GPT for ideation more than anything. So like giving it a very clear idea of who the audience is that I'm trying to serve and what are problems that millennials ages 20 to 30 are running into and what are their biggest roadblocks. And then it gives me ideas and then I'll build a script around those. But using it for copy, I think it still has a long way to go to get to where it feels like a human. But descriptions would be a use case where you could have it do that. I just like to, when I'm posting mine, get specific in mind with what I want.
Okay, so we want to be considerate of Trevor's time. So is there any last minute question? Okay, well, thank you so much, Trevor. This has been so enlightening. If anybody wanted to reach out to you, would you be kind enough to give us what email or a thing that?
Yeah, so you could just on Instagram, it's at Trev York. I'll throw that in the chat. You guys
Everybody subscribe.
go ahead. And then if you want to DM me, if you guys have questions, I try to get to as many as I can, and I'll make sure that I hit you back. And then also, Stephen, the program that you're in, if you guys want to learn more about this, Neil and I both co-teach in this program. It's a content accelerator.
Let
and
me
we
just
give
tell
you,
you this. I'm going to interrupt you. Let me
Go
just
ahead.
tell you this. This totally, I had like 600 followers. Now I have 12,000. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was doing everything wrong. And these guys teach you step by step how to get going, the strategies and all that. They provide content. But, you know, frankly, and this is no secret, I look and see what Trevor and Neil are doing and try and copy some of their subject matter. You know, if Trevor gets a 500,000 views on FHA loans, well, then hell, I'm doing a video on FHA loans, right? So, but definitely take a look at that. How do you even find out to sign up for that?
So I actually made a link for you guys. So if you click this, just because you guys are with Steven and he's one of our best students, we put a deal together for you. It's $2,000 typically. We're giving you 41% off. Makes it less than $100 a month. I think
That's
to
a
Steven's
deal.
point,
That's
yeah,
a deal.
I think
That's a no-brainer.
And we do calls every other week where we dive deeper into strategy. We give you scripts. There's modules on how to set up your lighting and your audio once you get it. We give you a list of all the tools that we personally use in our content and what we're shooting every day. So I think obviously I'm biased, but I think it's an amazing program and there's nothing else like it. And on top of it, Steven, I'm sure you could attest to this, that community of the people that are in there, we have a little over 1,000 people in that. It's a really rad group of human beings. So
they're all very helpful. If you need, you know, help on editing or whatever, you post something to the Facebook group, you get like 9 or 10 responses.
Yeah. And I'd love to see you guys in there, but yeah, that's all I got. If you have any questions, guys, definitely shoot me a DM, and thanks for having me on here, Steven. It's fun.